Salutations and fist bumps, folks. Welcome back to the grid. So what if I told you that there was a possibility that we might get two Kangs for the price of one inside of one movie? And yes, if you're wondering, we're talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania because you clicked on the thumbnail, you saw the title, you know exactly where we're going with this. There's a possibility that there are two Kangs inside of this movie, and let's get into it because there is so much to talk about right now. Okay, so let's just get right into this. We all know that Kang can show up in multiple different places inside of any place that he wants, really, inside of the timeline, because literally he does do that inside the comics a bunch of different times. The reason for that is because he's literally trying to reinvent himself every single time. We see him in the MCU for the very first time inside of Loki as He Who Remains. And if we were looking at that as the comic version, that would be Immortus. And when we last saw Kang, at least the version that we saw in the beginning of the timeline version of the MCU, we saw him being killed by a version or a variant of Loki. Hence the parallel here. Here's where I'm going with this. When you kill a Kang variant inside of the comics, every time that he's facing annihilation, every time that he sees that, he goes to a time traveling portion of himself and reinvents himself so that that never happens again, at least until he comes up until the Immortus version. At least that's the end version that we saw inside of Loki. So at least until we see Immortus at the end of his timeline being, he's always trying to reinvent himself. And in that, he's always trying to kill the version that is trying to stop him from reinventing himself. So there is a very strong possibility that we might be getting two Kangs inside of this movie because of that very reason. Hello, my friend. How you doing? Welcome back to another Grid video. Are you enjoying yourself? If you are, go ahead and hit the like button because we want to spread this information as far and wide on YouTube as much as possible. So please do me a favor and hit the like button because it really does help the channel to spread and tell more people about comics, because that is what I love to do. Thank you. And as a side or a side tangent around this whole topic or whatever we're going to call this, the entire thing of Dr. Doom not being in Wakanda forever is just a red flag for me because there were so many things pointing to him that he could have been there, and that we'll get into that in a separate video. However, there were so many things that were pointing to him practically being available to show up inside of Wakanda forever, namely being Namor going at them in reckless regard. But that's again a different video for a different time. But the reason that even happened in general, in the fact that there was pointers to Dr. Doom and the fact that Dr. Doom is looming inside of the MCU anywhere, means that there are at least another version of Kang could be coming down the line, or already has, because again, that version usually tries to annihilate the other version. So if that is the case, he practically might be showing up in this movie. And because of the fact that let me back up. The reason why I strongly, and there a lot of people are starting to come up on this bandwagon as well. The reason why I believe strongly is because anytime that you kill a Kang variant, like I said earlier in the video, you get another Kang variant usually. And he actually said that inside of Loki. So if you want to trail back there, run that tape back, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. He literally tells us inside of Loki that he will see you later. Exactly what I'm trying to say here. Later meaning earlier than, or later meaning sooner than later, actually, because we have already seen inside the trailer that there are two different versions that we see, one with a helmet and one without a helmet, unless that's just two different takes, but I don't believe so. if that's the case, and we killed a Kang variant already, he's showing up somewhere else inside of the MCU early. We already know that he's going to show up inside of the Fantastic Four movie because he's the antagonist there as well. But it's just going to be so much fun to see him. And when you do see him in his vast variant formats inside the MCU, just wait till you see what else he does inside the MCU. Okay, so what do you think? How many Kangs do you think how many Kangs do you believe will be inside of this video? 1, 2, 5,000, many, way more than that? I don't know. I believe it's 2. I strongly believe that it's at least 2 because the trailer shows us 2 different variants of Kang, or 2 versions of Kang. So again, I strongly believe that we probably will get at least 2, maybe more, but at least 2. Because again, we killed a different one inside of a different part of the MCU. And when you do that, you usually get a different one very shortly after, or at least somewhere inside the timeline. And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't show him unless he was showing up again sooner than later. Anyway, if you believe the same way that I do about this rumor, theory, however we're calling this around the MCU community right now, if you believe that as well, go ahead, hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. And go ahead and subscribe. I very much appreciate that as well if you like this content. And until next time, until next video, I will see you in the next one. Blurred out.